It all comes down to the wire as eventing's world champions are crowned in Aachen's main arena. And emotions continue to run high as the final medals are awarded in the vaulting. Well, hello there and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. All of the latest from the FEI World Championships of 2026 from Aachen. It is, of course, day 6, the final day of week 1, and what a day it has been.
Behind every victory and before every cheer, there is a story waiting to be told. It's about all the chapters written away from the spotlight, where partnerships are forged in silence and teamwork drives one shared journey. And now, a new chapter begins.
Presented by Huvela.
Well, we want to begin our recap of day 6 with a little look back into the evening session from day 5, because we can't go past what happened in the final moments of the dressage. Of course, we saw our world champion crowned, and it was Great Britain's Lottie Fry, who did the double-double, just the third rider in history to take these medals at a world championships, not once, but twice. We have the lowdown for you.
A capacity crowd shook the Aachen main stadium as the FEI Dressage Freestyle World Champion was crowned. Great Britain's Charlotte Fry and Glamourdale became just the third combination in history to successfully defend their FEI World Championship Freestyle title, scoring a whopping 91.907.
You're never going to find a Glamourdale again, that's for sure. He's just unbelievable. Like, I have never ridden a test like that before. I was so relaxed. We both came out of there not sweating, not breathing heavy. It was just so enjoyable for both of us.
Nothing could stop Denmark's Catherine Laudrup the 4 and Mount St John freestyle. 91.236 was good enough for silver, just 0.671 behind Fry.
I just had the flow. It's only the second time I'm riding this freestyle. I really felt that everything was coming together today, and I was just I'm so proud of the way she just opened up in there for the crowd.
One of the world's most decorated equestrians and undisputed Queen of Aachen snatched the final place on the podium. Isabelle Werth partnering Wendy de Fontaine to score 88.650 to claim bronze.
I feel so grateful, and I'm so happy about my test today, and the atmosphere was, I got goosebumps when I went in, and then Wendy was so fantastic.
That concludes all the dressage action from Aachen after 4 days of captivating competition.
And just when we thought we were recovering from all the excitement in the dressage, it was time to turn our attention to the final day of the sport of eventing. And wow, wasn't there drama and so much at stake. It was the jumping day, of course, and it all came down to this. For a little lead up to how things went, let's explain what the jumping phase means.
This is the final phase of eventing. By now, horse and rider have already completed the dressage and cross country. But the championship is far from over. Every penalty collected so far is carried into this final test. The challenge is simple: jump clear and don't add any more penalties to the scoreboard. After the demands of cross country, this final element of the equestrian triathlon really tests how well-rounded of an athlete each horse is. They must stay focused, careful and athletic despite everything they have already accomplished throughout the championship. It's very easy to add faults to the score. A rail down adds penalties. A refusal adds penalties. Completing the course over the time allowed adds penalties. And every mistake can affect the final standings. That's why this phase is often packed with drama. A rider holding a medal position can lose it all with a single fence down. And with scores often separated by the smallest margins, every fence matters. When the final rider crosses the finish line, the competition is over, and we will know who will be crowned the team and individual FEI Eventing World Champion. Because after 3 phases and 3 days of competition, consistency is what wins eventing championships.
The best horse feed for the best athletes.
Just have a little drink there. Had to hide.
I don't know nothing. I was very much championships. This is my first World Championships, and really grateful to be here. I don't come from a horsey family, so all these dreams and ambitions, never really thought I would get to these places. They were never really dreams of mine. Pressure is a privilege a little bit, so even though we might not always want it as much, but I'm really happy that I was able to get it done. Keep my world. Jerry had bought them from the field. Had to buy 2 for 1, kind of one like that. And yeah, we've been in a lot. And like that, he's a bit of a nervous character. Took a little bit, and like that, he's a bit of a nervous character. Took a little bit of time for him to settle, but I think now we have such a good partnership. We really trust each other, and testament to him, like our bond and our trust to fight for each other. You know, it's amazing.
Well, thanks to our partner Huvela, throughout the course of the week, we've been joined by none other than eventing champion Ingrid Klimke. She's been giving some incredible insights across the course of the eventing discipline taking place there at our World Championships. And this morning, before everything took place in the main arena, she caught up with John Kyle to give her thoughts.
Eventing show jumping is just getting underway, and I'm here with Huvela ambassador Ingrid Klimke, who's been our guest throughout the weekend. Ingrid, first of all, we'll talk about the show jumping in a second, but throughout the weekend. Ingrid, first of all, we'll talk about the show jumping in a second, but we've just already, we'll catch up with that, I think, in some of the analysis tonight, but you've just been lucky enough to actually present the show jumping course to the stadium here, so you already know a little bit what the audience is like. They're ready to enjoy sport, aren't they?
Definitely. It's a big challenge on this huge arena. Normally we don't have this much ground to gallop. To cover the whole arena, they really put the fences quite close to the tribune, and also the last line, double oxe with different kinds of waters and colors. And then the last combination, double vertical, one stripe before the finish. They have done quite much yesterday, so the riders have to be really focused and stay calm and show that they can do it.
And tell me also, or maybe express to me a little bit, because it always looks to us like these arenas are super flat, but actually there's big terrain, there's a big fall.
There's a big fall, and especially on that last line, it's a little bit downhill. So you come a little bit downhill, what means you have to sit your horse up that it stays in balance, canters in balance. So the riders will do it. And we are here in the home crowd. That means the last little bit of luck will come from the audience.
Now, little bit predictions. I think, sadly, maybe the Mannschaft, the German team, they can't quite get there today. We never know.
You never know. I mean, it's not over yet. The last day is a new sheet.
But Mickey then, it is so close also in the individuals. Mickey does a lot of pure show jumping, but we think to Bertoni 4 years ago, and it was the last fence. You know, so...
It was the last fence with me in Trine as well, so I know exactly the feeling that you have to encourage your horse to really be together and really give their very best. And after the last fence is the finish.
And also, just reflecting back now with one night's sleep of the cross country, I mean, it's such a super day because such clean pictures, the quality of riding, rewarded by Giuseppe's course. But we've ended up now with an interesting field of teams, maybe with the Olympic ticket.
Definitely, and I mean, we saw so good combinations. We saw the top riders. We saw wonderful horses. Ears in front, looking where's the next fence, galloping around as fast as they can. I think it was a really great pleasure and a good advertising for our sport to see the whole cross-country day yesterday in a review.
Well, thank you so much to Ingrid and Huvela for letting us have Ingrid during the course of this World Championships here, and it's been great having her insight with us here on the studio.
It certainly has, and boy, what a build-up we have now to the big reveal. If you haven't been watching the sport today, we're about to dig into how it all actually played out and what happened. And there's a man who's been watching it with forensic intensity. He's positively bursting with fruit flavour, bubbling over beside me here, Dermot Byrne. What an incredible result in the teams, in the individuals. Amazing stories, no matter where you look.
I think if you'd said, Amy, that, you know, the man who dominated the sport for the last, well, probably since his last World Championships win in 2010 would go on to win, the team that have dominated the sport in recent years would go on to win, you might not have realised what a special 4 or 5 days we had, all of the stories which came out of it. I can't wait to dig in, but that is fabulous 4 days of competition we've just seen, and what a climax.
Yeah, just incredible stuff. We should really start things off with having a look at the final results after the eventing, of course. So let's have a look at the individual standings at the end of play. That story, that in its entirety, it is our Olympic Games. Michael Jung there on a finishing score of 23 flat, takes the gold medal ahead of Ros Cantor and then Laura Collett in bronze. Just incredible. 3 of them, you know, we talked about this earlier, could have gone to any of those and we would have been pleased.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of ways of looking at it. You'll also see, like, 18-year-old Fisher Chipmunk goes on to win. 17-year-old London 52, ridden by Laura Collett. We saw the emotional interview at the end. Again, Andrew Hoy with Vasily de Lassos. What a finish for them. 6th place, one of their highest, or their highest ever finish in a championship. And then you've got the young guns. You've got Alexis Goury and Javal. You've got Aoife Clark. You've got a wonderful selection there in the top. But the older horses, the experienced horses, they really came to the fore this week.
Unbelievable stuff. So cool. Then, of course, we talk about the teams. This was also just packed to the brim, full of narrative, story, juicy bits that we could really sink our teeth into, that tugged at the heartstrings as well. Let's have a look at the results after, well, the team competition. This is the standings, of course. Team Great Britain. And as you said, they've been an absolute powerhouse in... We talked a lot about that bronze medal.
There between... Switzerland were in it on scores, but they always had Erin with Melody Unner to jump last, which was likely to be one of their more, one of the trickier combinations for, them to keep clear. That was a big battle. Switzerland against Ireland against the US. The US began to pull ahead. The Austin O'Connor rail, Padraig McCarthy rail early. But equally, one thing I bring your attention to on that leaderboard as well. When France came out this morning, one of the biggest stories of the day, I would say, Nicolas Touzon having to withdraw before the horse inspection this morning, actually meant that the Olympic qualification, which we thought yesterday was in the bag for France, went. It brought Belgium and the Netherlands into play. Belgium and the Netherlands had that battle for the last Olympic place. Belgium coming out on top. So there was, Britain were winning this from early. Despite the early Gemma Stevens false cross country, Britain took a strong lead. There was lots of other team stories that played out across the day.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at how it played out, Dee, because there was so much to it. It really was tense there.
Yeah, first half of the first, early combinations, we began to see the time adding up a little bit. We began to wonder how impactful those time penalties were, particularly considering that there was less than a single time penalty between the top 3, both Laura Collett and Ros Cantor sitting right behind Michael Jung and Fisher Chipmunk. It did go to the final round. There was nothing to spare. I suppose what I would really probably focus on most is as you got to those top combinations, you began to see little moments like the plank in particular began to really kick in late in the competition. The cups made a difference. We were on yellow cups in this country yesterday, tapping those cups. There was moments where we saw the taps happening. The polls didn't come down today, and I think that's the right way for eventing. I think that's the fairest way. The superstars that we're going to see in jumping, I think that's the fairest way. The superstars that we're going to see in jumping won't have done 10 minutes of cross country.
Absolutely. We heard the taps. We were listening, and we heard those taps at full volume from Mickey Jung. We can talk about him. When we talk about the cups, of course, we're talking about they're the plastic things that sit on either side of those poles. That's what's holding them in. And sometimes they're shallow and sometimes they're deep, and it just depends. So, yeah, we heard that. Talking about Mickey Young, I mean, just an incredible story. We were chasing a narrative on him earlier in the week about led and lost. And I mean, we've doubled down on that, haven't we?
Isn't it incredible? Mm-hmm. So one of the things we brought you earlier in the week is that Fisher Chipmunk has been to 7 championships now. And that includes his time with Yulia Krajewski. Of course, they led in Tryon back in 2018. Every time they've led, they haven't won. Every time they have. About him. Of course, Fisher Chipmunk, as an already reigning Olympic champion, now becomes the world champion. Going in last today, I thought that was very, very special for Fisher Chipmunk. The feeling of, I suppose, that watching Michael yesterday at the cross-country finish, there's that tap, there is that tap. That is the difference. Yeah. Of course, don't forget, Michael has already lost the last World Championships to a British rider at a World Games. Last fence, when it came down, he lost the Azingham back in Pretoni. We've seen it happen multiple times, but he kept it today. It's fairly mind-blowing, the dominance now, and I don't know if how long that continues. Like we're seeing Michael show jumping a lot with Labio Sadiq Sam. He's won 3 Olympic individual golds. Now he's added another 9 championships in that time, 5 gold medals for Michael.
Yeah, just incredible stuff. We want to talk about this British team because this is the kind of team that you're going to see. I mean, if they haven't already been, I think they have anyway, been called up to Buck House there and, get to meet royalty, because this is an absolute powerhouse.
There's so many people that are not on the team, for them to be able to bring Lordship Scrafalo, JL Dublin, London 52, and Flash Cooley with Gemma Stevens. They finished on a score of 84. You begin to run out of things to say about a British team that are dominating, adding medals after all the major championships. However, they've gone and broken one of their own records. This is their lowest ever finishing score now at major championships for a British team. They've done it again. We're watching Laura come home here. That was heart in your mouth stuff, because they had a fence. It was a tree from home, and we talked about the power of Diabolo. With Will Coleman, who was always going to chase. You're seeing Ross Cantor there with Lordship Scrafalo. What a horse to be able to take it home. I would say they always, from a team point of view, they always had the gap. We talked about it, 98% win chance once they came through the horse inspection this morning. What was fascinating for me was that Lordship Scrafalo had to keep the rails up, and did so comfortably and well to keep the pressure on Michael. Didn't even have a second to spare.
Yeah, absolutely. Tipped that this crowd would go bananas, BANANAS, and they certainly did in...
Let's do it on home ground, they will. I'm speechless. I mean, Fisher Chipmunk, this horse is unbelievable. He's doing dressage, he's running in the cross country, he's jumping forward. It's just a dream to ride him. World Games at home with this horse. Everything works together in the dressage. Okay, I had a mistake in the dressage, but still a good test in the cross country, super round. You need always still luck from everywhere, help from the people around, and then in the show jumping, he's jumping amazing. Also the last combination normally is not his favorite thing, the double vertical in the end of the course, but he's just a super horse.
Absolutely superb stuff. So wonderful to hear from Mickey there, and always at the heart of everything he does, and all of these riders in telling us just how much.
Only me and him going on the course, and I think that is the best feeling that you could have for eventer.
Like me, she's a bit crazy. I think it's a bit of that French flair and that bit of craziness. But she's such a cool mare. She goes with you. She do anything for me. Like cross country, just keep her between the flags. She jump anything. Like you say sometimes, steady girl, it's okay, we got time there. And the jumping, she just try and try and try.
Vasily de la Sauce is an amazing horse. He is now running as good as he's ever run, I believe, and he just puts his absolute heart in it. I think it's the partnership that we've got, like it's a 10-year partnership. There's only one other person that's sat on him, and that's just to hack him out, and that's my groom Clementine. I think he's got a mind that arises to every occasion.
He just shows up for me every day, you know, and he's very consistent at the things he's good at, and also consistent at the things he's not so good at. I think most of all he just tries his very best, you know, every day and every competition, and it really is a pleasure to ride him.
Oh, don't worry, Artie. We're all pretty consistent at the things we're good at and consistent at the ones we're not so good at. It's pretty hard to rattle. Lovely to hear from our riders there. Just absolutely loved up when it comes to their equine partners in crime. We want to get down to a lady reporter for the In-Out studio. Nicole Brown is down at Aachen.
Oh, do you know what? What a day it has been here in Aachen. And I'm delighted to say I've got a lady with me that's had a pretty successful one at that. Helen Nichols, performance manager for British Equestrian. Helen, a medal in every colour. That's a pretty successful day at the office, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it's always difficult, isn't it? Because you get up in the morning and you think, what's going to happen today, and where are we going to be at the end of the day? And that's the brilliance of sport, isn't it? It could have ended very differently, but I'm absolutely delighted that we stand here today, as you say, with a medal of every colour, and more importantly, qualification for LA and a team gold.
Let's talk about qualification for LA for a second. How important is it in terms of not only planning, but team?
Really, really lucky in the UK that we have funding over 4 years from the lottery and UK Sport, so that allows a lot of planning. But for the riders, getting qualification done at the first opportunity, that just means that your run into LA is as you desire, really, with each horse and each combination. So it's really, really important.
And you know you've got strength and depth in the British squad. That brings with it a good deal of pressure as well. Has there been a feeling coming into this championships of pressure?
Not really pressure on results, but for me it's always about we've got the ability to deliver, and if you've got the ability to deliver, the pressure is about can you deliver on the day at the time, and wanting everything to go right for the riders. It's sport, isn't it? So you saw that cross-country course yesterday. Anything can happen to anybody. It doesn't matter how good you are, and that's the brilliance of sport, isn't it? That's why there's 40,000 people watching in that arena, because you don't know what the outcome's going to be. But for all the stars to align and it to happen the way it did was just brilliant across the whole week, you know, for dressage and for eventing.
The dressage have had a really, really successful championships as well. Lottie Fright, that moment in the main stadium last night for the freestyle. I'll be honest, there were a lot of goosebumps, but it must have been hugely proud to see how that all came together too.
Yeah, and you know, from the outside, sometimes it looks easy, doesn't it? You know, that you know, it's a brilliant horse and she's a brilliant rider and it's straightforward. It's far from that. You know, they've worked every single day. You know, they had a low point last year at Crozet. You know, it wasn't what they wanted, and they had to go away, and we had to look at what was going on and how we supported them and how they've rebuilt, and absolute credit to them what they've done with their performances, and to come out and do that I actually think they really deserve that. It was really special.
Has there been a standout moment for you this week?
Probably this evening's the standout moment, where you've got two teams that have come here trying to deliver their best and qualify, and they've done that. And you know, I'm excited because next week we've got the jumpers and the para dressage guys arriving and driving as well. And I wonder where we'll be this time next week, and will we still be smiling?
Fingers crossed we'll be still smiling. I don't know about you guys watching along.
It certainly has. We know Nick has a big old soft spot for Team GB, don't we all? Wonderful stuff, absolutely record breaking and wonderful to see. We talk a lot about this venue. It really is the mecca of horse sport, and it is that hallowed turf that all our athletes are taking to throughout the course of this 2 weeks. We wanted to learn a little bit more about it, and we sent our reporter Hannah Robson out to take a look around.
Well, you know the stage and you know the riders, but today we'd like to show you some of the parts of Aachen that you might not have seen before. Well, the first thing we wanted to show you is Aachen's Walk of Fame. We've got 26 real horseshoes embedded in the ground here. We've got Hello Sanctos just next to me here. Big names as well, like Totilas just there. Big Star is down there, and Sam FBW as well. So these were the actual horseshoes worn by some Aachen champions, and they're here to celebrate the equine stars of this incredible venue. Well, this is a view that you might have the best seats in the house, elevated up really high so the judges can see everything that is happening in that main arena. Well, of course, the focus here this week is the World Championships, but Aachen has been the stage to so many incredible competitions. Of course, another World Championships 20 years ago. Their names into the history books, and this lists out some of those key competitors, starting in the show jumping from 1927. Well, this next spot is a little bit of German humour at Aachen. This is the Aachen weather station. It says things like, if the horseshoe is wet, it's raining, if it's dry, it's sunny, and if it's not there at all, it could be a hurricane. Well, we're going to keep on showing you some of the hidden gems of Aachen as this World Championships progresses, but for now, I'm off to take a look at the shopping village.
Of course she is. It wouldn't be a horse show with Hannah if she wasn't. Hannah, thank you so much. We want to turn our attention now to the vaulting because it was the final day in the vaulting competition. We waved goodbye to vaulting in week one, and wow, what a day. The crowd inside that arena lifted the roof off the place. Phenomenal results to behold. Let's take a look at how things played out with two competitions taking place and a set of medals. Let's look at the pas de deux. This is the beautiful, of course, the pas de deux, the clue there in the translation of the name. It is two athletes a gold medal going the way of the French pair. It's Italy in second, and the bronze medal to Germany there, strong throughout the course of the competition. Again, taking the gold medal this time ahead of France, who took the silver in this, and the Italians in the bronze medal position. A fantastic set of results that came from the vaulting, an absolute sight to behold. We've been enjoying catching up with a lot of the vaulting athletes throughout the course of the week. So many incredible stories actually coming out of this particular discipline. One of them actually comes from our native nation. She's a famous daughter of another equestrian, and we got to know her. It's Ursula Levitt.
Great Britain at the World Championships here in Aachen. I moved here with a horse at 18. It was the first time I lived away from home, so at the beginning it was quite a big adjustment. I knew the city a little bit and I did know my trainer very well, but it was quite spontaneous that in my trainer after the Championships in 2023 came for a clinic in England where we live, and then 2 weeks later I'd moved to Germany, so it was quite spontaneous. And here we've had him since he was 3 and he's now 13, so he's pretty much a member of the family. He was an eventing horse before he was a vaulting horse, and he was really, really talented, but decided when the jumps got too high he didn't really want to do it. So we switched him to vaulting, and he's found the perfect sport for him. Usually we start preparing the programmes October the year before, so we really know the music and the programmes inside out. And the freestyle, it's really just being really artistic with the programme and really expressing the emotions that you're feeling from the music through your routine. Well, in those final moments, you know, I've worked with a sports psychologist because it is a bit of a funny time, because you obviously have all those things that you know, where you feel the muscles in your body and you know that you're ready to run into that arena and show your best. I suppose it's all like anything in life. You just handle it as best you can, and so you can show the best performances.
exports from Australia. A really, really lovely story and wonderful to see her making her mark on the world stage. Plenty has happened in the vaulting, and keeping a keen eye on it throughout the course of the week has been John Kyle. But the first thing we want to do is just talk to you about a story that he's been following, because we've talked a lot about it. We talk about the athletes that are there performing these magnificent acrobatic acts, but it's the lunger, the person who stands in the middle of the arena, lunging that horse in that consistent...
Oh my gosh, that's probably the question I get asked the most is, so the lunger is the person who just stands in the middle of the circle so the horse knows where to go around, and they couldn't be more far from the truth. The lunger is so critically important because their main job is to make sure that that horse feels confident, feels comfortable on the circle, knows to slow down a little, to speed up a little, to balance up a little, to do all those really subtle things that can make or break a performance. And so they're just so critical. And our lunger, Christina, she's just fantastic. Not only is she amazing for the horse, but she also always wants the best for the vaulters. And so she's an amazing person and an amazing lunger as well.
We can just trust that she's going to keep Zorro going exactly how he needs to be.
When you run into the arena with her, you always know that whatever happens to the horse in the arena, whatever the horse decides he's going to do that day, she just handles it, and we really don't have to stress about it at all.
I mean, you can see it in these two rounds, you know. The first round was a bit messy, a bit crazy, and today he felt more confident. I think this is to Andrea, you know, because I think she gave him more confidence and was there for him, even though there is the lunge. So yeah, I think it's a very, very big part also for us to be a good vaulter.
The two differences between the rounds were her.
There's a lot of energy to be felt down that lunge line. Fantastic stuff, really cool. A bit more about how it all played out today. As I said, JK has been following all of this all week. He's been investigating how it all works. He's been talking to everybody. He's been getting back to his roots in vaulting. JK, it was a pretty epic day in the vaulting.
It absolutely was. I mean, what? There's 6,300 people in that stadium, so Derm will do the maths quickly. I think it's 15% the size of the main stadium with the eventing, and I think they made 150% the amount of noise down there. They really, really love this. So I did do a little bit of vaulting with the Brayhunt branch of the Pony Club. Thank you very much. I love the piece on the lunges as well, because they're so important. And that funny fact about vaulting as well, John Eccles, Joanne's dad, who was with us, when he lunged, the lunger gets a medal. So John Eccles has a medal at home in Clackmannanshire that says that he is the FEI World Individual Female Vaulting Champion. But back to today, our Pas de Deux final, which you mentioned initially, that was such an exciting competition because our winners there, Gardis and Thibaudet for France, they were debutantes at the competition. I mean, Gardis Theo is already an individual and a squad gold medalist from the last championships at Bern, and teaming up here for this Pas de Deux, and they stormed out in front for gold ahead of the European champions of Pas de Deux, Rebecca Gregis and Derek Zanella of Italy. Now, they had a very, very difficult build-up to the games. They actually just linked up with their horse in the final few days before the games. So to actually hold on for silver in their Pas de Deux for the European champions just shows their kind of strength and depth. The bronze medalists then, they were for Germany. It's Yannick Hyland, who we've known for so long time, and Kimberly Heeks, and they actually had a fall in round one. So for them and for the home audience to come back in the second round of Pas de Deux and take that medal would have been very, very pleasing. And, you know, as we've been talking about, we've put a roof on the stadium. We very nearly took it back off when they came right back into contention. The national team competition, it's a funny one because it is so important. You have to be in the top 8 teams to get in into it, but it's also a little bit of relaxation. It's kind of like the ice skating gala at the end of a Winter Games. And let's have a look at the results there. It was the Italians. So you choose 2 individuals and then you put out your squad. The Italians, our pas de deux pair, split back up to be individuals and laid down such a high standard that they helped Italy secure the bronze. The individual vaulters go first as a block, and then it's all the squads. So actually then, as we got into it, we were coming in, it was France versus Germany, squad versus squad, and 2 squads that have quite different styles. But it absolutely was an en-primeur of where the sport is at the moment in terms of vaulting, because it is France and Germany are the 2 dominant ones at the moment. It was then that France, with Quentin Jabet, who is our individual world champion, part of the squad, laid down their, as ever, elegant and flawless squad vault. But it was the Germans coming in with an almost perfect artistic score that snatched it away, meaning Germany take the official team title at a World Championships for the first time since Tryon 2018. I can't believe it's all over, and yet there's so much more still to come. 3 World Championships under our belt here in Aachen, but what do you say, Amy? Should we do it all again next week?
Sounds like a plan, my man. I'm excited and looking forward to it very, very much so indeed. It is, of course, day 6. It is, of course, the end of week 1, but plenty more to come in week 2. We want to talk a little. That starts off nice and early, 9:30 a.m. It is the first competition for Wednesday. Do not forget that. Now, of course, if you've been enjoying our show, that's really good. We're happy with watching FEI TV and Clip My Horse TV. If you haven't got a premium subscription as yet, there's a chance to win one with thanks to our sponsor, Huvla. This is your last opportunity. Scan that QR code and try and score yourself a freebie and get to watching, because there's plenty to enjoy for you there. What a week. I have to have a deep swallow and just a reset before we get stuck back into things on Wednesday. Of course, we are looking forward to seeing you. We'll be previewing what's to come on Wednesday, and then we'll be live back here in the studio at 7 p.m. We're going to love you and leave you, though, for now. Take a breath, rest up, rehydrate. It's very important, and you know it's important to me by this stage. Until we see you next time, take care.
The best horse feed for the best athletes. German horse feed since 1905.
He's up and over, he's got goals! 13.
Against the clock, it really didn't matter. Mickey defended Kentucky.
No scriptwriter could have ever written a better story.